It is Tuesday, June 10th of 2025. With this edition of Litter Media Live, I'm Dan Ramey. Mike Smith, the icon, is off to my right. And off camera today is our Aaron Glandon, Mr. Hand 2. Today is a day that we didn't want to have to talk about, but we're going to have certainly some words that we'll share with you here this morning in regards to the paper plant. So a lot of folks have been wondering, speculating. We finally received official word just moments ago. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at what the forecast is for us weather-wise. I guess, if anything, we can see sunny skies.
Yeah, at least for a few days. All of the rain that we've received here over the last week, we're going to get a kind of a 3-day break from that. Sunshine will be the predominant forecast feature for now through Thursday. 74 expected high today, and look for low to mid 80s on Wednesday and Thursday before a possibility of rain comes back Friday through the weekend.
All right, we'll get into more discussion on this, but let's, the cat's already out of the bag. They have talked about, once again, given us a date that August 10th is going to be the last day of operations for the paper mill from what we're seeing. So we will talk more about that coming up in a moment. There's a lot of residual things that we need to share with you in regards to what's being done now. So that's all just ahead. But first, let's tell you about Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your trusted comfort advisor. If you have the need for, maybe you've got a heating issue, a cooling issue, maybe it's too hot, maybe it's not cold enough, whatever the case may be, a plumbing issue, they can take care of it. Click on this ad anywhere you see it on our website, littermedia.com. It'll take you to accuratehvac.com. Each week, we'll announce the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Litter Media Player of the Week, presented by Homeland Credit Union. And in December, we'll announce the Player of the Year. Nominate any amateur athlete by visiting littermedia.com and click on Player of the Week. You'll also see the players we've named throughout the year. Make your nomination today for the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Litter Media Player of the Week, presented by Homeland Credit Union. Discover Ross County. From the breathtaking outdoor adventures to the historic sights of Chillicothe and family-friendly events and festivals. Explore more at visitchillicotheohio.com or download the free mobile app today.
I was looking for a first job. I had been babysitting and decided it was something for a little more permanent. It pays very well. It's convenient. You can make your own schedule with the flexibility. That's something that I like. The people that I work with are great. I wouldn't ask for a better crew or management team to work for.
The Bean Foundation wants to raise awareness about suicide prevention by sharing 988. Trained crisis counselors are available to talk 24/7, 365 days a year. 988. Save the number. Save a life. To learn more about the Bean Foundation, click on this ad on littermedia.com.
Tecumseh. Fascinating. Captivating. Mesmerizing. Tecumseh.
Welcome back to the program, and coming up in just a moment, of course, you can go to our website. You can see what we're going to be talking about here today. That's one of the stories we'll be sharing with you, but also most recently, in fact, when this screenshot was taken, this story was not available to us. Do we want to jump into what you shared just moments ago?
Might as well. That's the big story. And then we'll just go ahead and read it to you as far as what was posted. And this literally came out 5 minutes before we went on the air. Word of the permanent closing of the Chillicothe paper mill became official this morning with a post on Pixel's Facebook page. Here's the post. We quote, "We want to share an important update about the future of the Chillicothe Mill. Pixel has revised the WARN notice to clarify that the final day of the mill operation is now expected to be August 10th of this year. This was not an easy decision. The company previously extended operations with the hope that collaborative efforts with state and local leaders would allow us to find a way to bridge through the year. Unfortunately, increasing staffing shortages and declining order volume have made it impossible for us to do so. We understand how difficult this news is for our employees and their families. Pixel continues to provide support through career transition services, job placement assistance, and other resources to help during this time." And the statement closes with, "We remain grateful to the Chillicothe team for their dedication and contributions." Now, local government officials, including the mayor, who was just with us about an hour ago, within the city of Chillicothe, Ross County, state and federal representatives of this community, say they will continue to seek efforts for another company that might want to occupy the paper mill site. But as of today, no success on that yet. I think the Mayor Feeney, on our special edition this morning, said that somewhere between 15 and 20 businesses have expressed an interest to at least look into it, but nothing has been official, and there's no indication that anything's even close. So.
And it's our understanding that coming out of this information that was released today, now those here locally can have more of a say in what happens down the road. Is that correct?
Well, if there can be an agreement made to turn or the site over to the community, like CIC, for example, or sell it to CIC in order to do that. It would be the comparison that I made with the mayor, and he confirmed. It'd be like you hear us talk about Community Improvement Corporation builds a spec building, and that's an empty building that they construct, and then they market it for potential industry or businesses to come in and buy it and occupy it. Well, the site's already there. Whether or not any business coming in would want to use the existing buildings or tear them all down and just use the footprint of the plant, that would be negotiated. But that has not yet been settled. So that may be things that the community will be talking with Pixel here in the coming months and years.
Some things that may occur over the next 60 days. So we'll continue to. In the meantime, there have been people that have been working together behind the scenes to help for whatever the case may be. If the paper mill news would have come out to close, and that is what we've had today. So yesterday in studio with us, Chillicothe Ross Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Michael Throne was here to talk about Scioto Valley Forward, a collaborative effort between public and private entities to provide essential information for those facing job challenges due to the closing of the paper mill. The initial workforce hub opened yesterday at noon in the annex of the main library. We'll tell you more about that in just a moment, but the words from Mike Throne. Forward.
Yeah, it's a coalition that we developed. The easiest way to say it is it really crystallized after April 15th when the announcement of the paper mill closure came about. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, later in the week, we bought a little time to kind of pull things together by having the delay of the plant closure announced by Senator Moreno's office. And so as we started walking through the steps of what were going to be needed to address the workforce issues and the business issues, we kind of, looked at it and said, well, we kind of need two things. We need a physical place for folks to go, and we need a digital place for folks to go. And so that's how Scioto Valley Forward kind of came about. And so SciotoValleyForward.com is the digital solution to that. And when you go to that site, you'll see a menu bar at the top that basically explains for local talent, which is the workforce, When you click on that, you'll go to a screen that basically gives you a variety of options of things that are resources to help.
And as we mentioned, the initial Workforce Hub opening yesterday at noon in the annex of the main library on South Paint Street here in Chillicothe. It will be open for the foreseeable future on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from noon until 4 p.m. And the digital side of this effort, again, can be found at sciotovalleyforward.com.
In other news, the major Standstill and Southern Moonrise observation will take place over Hopeton Earthworks tomorrow. Join in for an awe-inspiring celestial event, as this rare phenomenon is one you won't see again for about 17 years. So you can see this on our site. Do you see a time on there, guys? 8:30 or 8:50 p.m.?
Arrive by 7:45 p.m.
Yeah.
And then the event's at 8:50 p.m.
Right, because the sun eventually goes down.
Yeah, so check that out tomorrow at, I think Teresa Reep said they had 10 spots left. So if you want to attend, I don't see a QR code on there anywhere. So
you're sitting there and you're watching the sun go down, the moon come rising up while listening to the cicadas, which are also one of those 17-year deals. Pretty cool.
There's an email to RSVP on there.
Okay, very good. Wonder if there's a coinciding reason. Is that why the cicadas come out, because they want to see the moon rise?
I would be a little more concerned that the four horsemen might appear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something? The Commercial Point Homecoming Festival will be underway tomorrow, runs right through Saturday. This is my old stomping grounds. Used to go to this when I was a kid. 96th Annual Festival is presented by the Commercial Point Community Men's Club Foundation. Free admission and parking, and it's home of the famous ocean perch sandwich. I will tell you that the ocean perch is not as green as the picture indicates. It's more of a nice golden brown batter look as opposed to the green
fish. So I guess
fish.
the question is the sandwich as good as they bill it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Dan Ramey endorses it.
We approve. Tomlinson Insurance is having a special event coming up soon. We talked with Andy yesterday in studio about this. You can see the entire interview on our YouTube channel. They'll conduct the annual flag retirement ceremony on June 16th at 11 p.m. Now, technically, the ceremony I don't think will happen then. They'll be collecting those flags to be retired. 11 to 1 p.m. next Monday. That's June 16th. Of course, Flag Day is this Saturday, but because it falls on a Saturday, Andy said we moved everything over to Monday. Not only will it happen here in Chillicothe, but at the other location as well in Washington Courthouse over on Court Street. So they'll do this from 11 until 1 here in Chillicothe, and then 3 until 5 over in Washington Courthouse, serving up hot dogs, brats, cheeseburgers, and chips. And, of course, if you've got an old flag, bring it, and they will exchange that flag for a new flag. And in the same respect, if you don't have a flag, he says, come in, we'll get one. He told us yesterday he estimated they've given between 7,000 and 9,000 flags out during the lifetime of this program. So, again, if you want to participate, please do so Monday, 11 to 1 here in Chillicothe at Tomlinson Insurance Agency, and from 3 until 5 at Tomlinson Insurance Agency in Washington Courthouse.
Staying on a patriotic theme, if you're looking for information as to specific military cemeteries in Ohio, as well as across the United States or even abroad, the Ohio Department of Veteran Services wants you to know that they have a resource page devoted to answering your questions. And that site is dvs.ohio.gov. And, of course, many of our men and women who have served our country and have had military burials, they're everywhere. In fact, Aaron and I will be over in Washington Courthouse today visiting one of those sites for a future markings of history, where we're going to find some Revolutionary War graves, as well as 1812 veterans. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye out for that coming down the road.
When we lived in Lockbourne, now keep in mind, we had to go through Lockbourne to get to where we lived because one of the streets became our road to the farmhouse where we lived. And there on the farm was a small cemetery. And I don't know, I can't remember the dates on these, but I want to say one went back to the 1700s. Yeah. And the trees had grown up and the roots had pushed the grave markers to the side. I did what I could to help straighten those up at one point in time and take care of that area. But gosh, that's been 35 years ago now. Yeah. So, but those are little lots all over the place. They really are. And I know the women of the DAR have done what they can to mark all those graves too.
And speaking of markings of history, our latest edition was released yesterday, talking about the First Presbyterian Church and its historical significance in Chillicothe.
Right. It started on the corner of what is now Bridge Street and Riverside, which was just outside the young town of Chillicothe. And I think the Presbyterians beat the Methodists by less than a year in being the first church in town.
Now, what happened to that original church building?
I don't remember, but it went on its own way, although a replica of it was built in 1938 for the Northwest Territories Sesquicentennial. And that replica was moved to Scioto Trail State Park, where it still stands next to the moved Hewitt the Hermit monument.
Chillicothe, as we've had in other episodes, has a long history, not only of the Underground Railroad, but also trying to educate the African-American community. And this church was one of those that helped do that.
Yes, they were part of the abolition movement and Underground Railroad.
And check that out on our Litter Media YouTube site. They come out once a week, and I don't know how many episodes we've still got in the can, not counting the 3 we're going to do today. We got 3 more, plus the 3 we're going to be doing today, so we've at least got things going through the month of June.
And this church, again, is where?
That was First Presbyterian Church in Chillicothe.
In Chillicothe, yeah. Okay. Didn't you do one on a church out by Frankfort?
Mm-mm. We did the First Baptist on 2nd Street.
We spoke about Concord at one point.
Okay.
But we didn't go.
When we were talking about the Underground Railroad,
Right.
they mentioned Concord.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
That's why I went there to get B-roll of it.
Gotcha.
Very good.
Okay.
Our road report is a culvert replacement project on State Route 93 in Jackson County. This is between Clay Banner Road and Sternberger Road. State Route 93 will be closed for the duration of the project in that area, and detours are set up for State Route 279 to US 35 to State Route 32, and this project runs through this summer.
All right, coming up in a moment to look at sports. But first, let's tell you about Scioto Valley Dumpsters. 740-253-8389 is the number that you need to call if you need a dumpster for whatever the reason may be. You want to find out more? Call 740-253-8389 or click on this ad anywhere you see it on our website, littermedia.com, and it takes you to Scioto Valley Dumpsters' Facebook page.
As a professional race car driver, I live for speed, power, and performance, on and off the track. That's why I use the Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Race into your local dealership today and test drive a new Dixie Chopper.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
We're back. Time for sports.
Yes, sir. All Ohio baseball honors came out last night, actually. And more than 20 area players are on the anywhere from first team to honorable mention. But the first team selections include Jaden Morrison of Tays Valley, Gage Stuckey of Miami Trace, Noah Ernst of Jackson, Trevin Brooks of Portsmouth, Cole Wells of Lynchburg Clay, William Bolton of Bern Union, Benaiah Andrews of South Webster, and Luke Cassidy of Notre Dame. But you can find the entire list of area baseball players that made the All-Ohio team, including some from other schools in the community, on littermedia.com.
Softball?
Southeast District Softball Coaches Association has announced their all-district team. This gal right here, Cameron Spruill, a first-teamer, duh. If you followed her career, you know that was not too big of a stretch. The Southeast District, they really they don't leave anybody out. So there is a long list, and that's the way it's always been, a long list of their all-district selections. I'm not sure. Usually they throw out the All-Ohio teams at the same time they do their all-district, but I didn't see the All-Ohio selection. So
did you type them all up?
No, I did not. No, I did not. I learned my lesson on that many years ago at the old radio station.
His fingers would be bleeding right now.
That's
if that were
what
the case.
we have for the time being. I'd still be at home typing that. Yeah.
Paints were off yesterday. They travel to Champion City tonight, and the Paints open this week at 6-5 in the Prospect League Northeast Division. Champion City is 1-11. Their only win against the Chillicothe Paints. That was a 5-4 victory last week. Lafayette stands atop the division at 9-2. So that's your update there. Reds won their fourth straight, a 7-4 victory over the Guardians last night, which also clinches the Ohio Cup for this portion of the series. So,
did you see the last time that the Reds did this?
Can't remember how many years.
2014, I believe.
Was it 2014?
It was either 2011 or 2014, something like that.
Tito knows how to win the cup. He's able to do that. Yeah. The probable pitchers for tonight is to go back at it again up in Cleveland. Andrew Abbott for the Reds tonight, coming off his only loss of the season, and Cleveland will counter with Slade Ciccone. Slade has one win on the season. Andrew has 5, so we'll see how things go. And the Unioto Shermans are playing in the state semifinal this Thursday.
Friday.
But they're sending the team off Thursday. And they ask that you wish the Shermans luck. Show up by 8:30 a.m. for their departure and are they playing at Canton the first game?
Yes.
Okay, and then if they win, they go to Akron, right?
And on Sunday morning at 10 a.m.
Yes. So good luck to the Shermans. Hats off to you. And we'll be rooting for you.
Mentor Lake Catholic.
What are you trying to say, Mike?
People in Frankfort have heard of them, like last year's volleyball state semifinal.
Yes. Yeah, they're not an easy.
They don't lack the ability to go out and get who they want to play. So,
but if they were the kind that would roll over, they wouldn't be in the Final Four, right?
That's correct.
So good luck to Tony Taylor and the Unioto Shermans. Bring back some hardware and make some noise. We like that. All right, coming up in a moment, this state in history. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have not prepared an image for this because it has always freaked me out.
I thought this would be one of your favorites.
As a kid, I wasn't my favorite. When Dan Jr. brought it home from school, nope, not for me. Sorry. So I guess I'm confessing I've got a wimpy bone right here for this particular program. Where the wild things are. Yeah. Details coming up next. But first,
Litter Quality Propane, serving 92 years for Southern and Central Ohio. Reliable supply, reliable service, reliable people. Litter Quality Propane.
Wherever you are, you're there for a reason. You shouldn't have to make a trip to the branch just to deposit a check. Skip the trip and use our mobile app to easily and securely deposit checks from your phone. Day or night, wherever you are, or whatever you're doing, download the Kingston National Bank Mobility app today.
Introducing the Petland Litter Media Pet of the Week. We want to put your pet in the spotlight. Pets with paws to pets with fins. If they gallop, crawl, or slither, play fetch, or simply curl up and snuggle. Send us a photo of your pet and we'll announce a new pet each week. And one pet will be crowned Pet of the Year. To nominate your pet, visit littermedia.com. Click on Pet of the Week. Tell us about your pet and be sure to include a photo. Watch Litter Media Live each Thursday for the announcement of the Petland Litter Media Pet of the Week. No purchase necessary. Contest applications must be from Ohio residents and at least 18 years old.
Life. It can get on top of you quickly, can't it? But with 211, it only takes one step to get connected to the help you need. 211 is always available to help. So get in touch today.
We'll explain what we're chuckling about in just a moment. Hometown Motors Incorporated, 818 East Avenue in Chillicothe. We needed something like this today, right? Their spring sales event continues. You can get new riding tractors starting at $1699.99. You know, the penny is going away. We could round this up. But new zero-turn mowers starting at $3,399.99. New walk-behinds starting at $399.99. New blowers starting at $199.99. New chainsaws at $279.99. New trimmers starting at $229.99. Hurry in before all these are gone. All right? Hometown Motors, your store for the outdoors. Before we get to this date in history, during our commercial break prior to the news, we had been watching a mouse over here off camera, and it was climbing up and down cables. It was jumping in and out of the bucket. And
this isn't the one from the Green Mile, was it? Maybe it was a talented mouse.
I don't know.
Oh.
But earlier today, our Aaron Glandon captured this mouse and humanely took it to the door to put it out. And
this was a different one.
Oh, that's a different one?
This morning, it was a different one.
Okay. Same family, though. Obviously very talented.
So, so he goes to put it out, and before you could put it out, it leaped out of the...
No, I put it down, and I laid the bucket down, and it ran out of the bucket, and then it ran through my legs right back inside.
Right back into the building. So during the break, he says, I'm going to get this mouse. He goes over...
And this one was a lot smaller.
This is the second one. A baby mouse.
Yes.
Probably looking for the mouse that you released somewhere.
Yeah. Yes.
And was within the building. So he takes this and humanely takes it downstairs during the break. We watched him do this. Mm-hmm. He comes back looking excited and happy and tells us during the next commercial break that
it came back in the building. Well,
you had the door closed.
I closed the door behind me this time,
and he still got
it. Ran through the closed door.
It did. Yeah. Wow. We have no cheese or anything like that in the building, so I don't know why it's...
I'm concerned now if the groundhog that is outside every once in a while, if it comes in, can you handle a groundhog?
Well, if I close the door behind me, a groundhog won't be able to slip through the crack. This tiny mouse could.
This location we're going to today, when Sarah and I were scouting it out the other day, I'm not exaggerating, there were 10 groundhogs running around. I've never seen that many groundhogs together where I could see them. It's like, what is this, a convention or something? Oh, wow. Maybe that's appropriate for what we're going to talk about next.
Precisely. This date in history.
1928, a guy by the name of Maurice Sendak is born in Brooklyn. Who was he? Have you ever read the children's tale Where the Wild Things Are? Mm-hmm. Came out in 1963. It pioneered the way that children's literature was presented. Used a realistic depiction of childhood anxieties and rebellious behavior at a time when many stories for young readers presented a sugar-coated version of life. one of my favorites, one of Dan's unpleasant memories, or the wild thing.
Again, it's not the story; it's the illustrations that came with it. I think that kind of is what got me.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I might be wrong on this, but it seems my earliest memory of this story was Captain Kangaroo.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been mid-'60s.
Well, it came out in 63.
Yeah, so I believe, wasn't there like a story time area? Or maybe they featured certain books, that sort of thing?
Probably. Before Oprah's before book club,
It was
Captain Kangaroo.
Captain Kangaroo. Oprah never used ping pong balls.
That's true. Yeah.
And there was no Mr. Green Jeans on her show, or the Dancing Bear.
Mm-hmm.
So
maybe she could have used.
Well,
that.
she did do some dancing.
Oh, yeah,
at one point in time. Not like Ellen. Ellen danced every show, I think. So, all right, that's it for today's program here on Litter Media on our YouTube channel. You can watch this a little bit later on. You can share it with other folks that maybe you might have missed something. But again, the top of the news today, official word coming from Pixel Solutions that August 10th of 2025 will be their last day of operations, from what we understand.
Yep.
All right, that's it for the program today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. In fact, some happy news tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Jack Schmidt from Kenworth will be here, and we'll talk about the Kenworth Truck Parade, which is coming up this weekend. And don't forget, there's other things going on, too, this weekend, including the opening of Tecumseh. The Southern Ohio Forest Rally is coming up. We've got Juneteenth stuff just around the corner, so a lot of things still to come. So we will continue to share details on the good stuff, even when we have to tell you about some of the bad stuff that comes along our way, too. For Aaron Glandon and for Mike Smith, I'm Dan Ramey. Thanks for watching this edition of Litter Media Live.